Welcome back to the 99. So I've actually been really looking forward to this one because this is one of the topics I thought was really interesting. We're going to get back to the more serious stuff because we've been having a couple fun videos back to back. So this is more serious.
As fun as you can get to
Right?
This topic.
Yeah.
These end topics.
So this is a more serious one. It's a prophecy. And it's who are the two witnesses in Revelation, specifically chapter 11. So that's what we're going to read about today. And there's a lot. So if you guys can read with us, that's actually cool. That's why we actually give the references is, well, first of all, because we don't want you to think we're just like making it up. And second of all, you can read with us. So if you have a Bible and we tell you what the references are, you can just read right along with us if you want to. You don't have to, but yeah, just wanted to point that out. So anyways, so we're going to start in Revelation chapter 11. We're going to go 1 through 14. But I just want to say that some people speculate who the witnesses are, obviously, because they don't give their names in here. And so some people over the years have said Moses because, well, actually, maybe I should just read the verses first. Because I don't.
That sounds good.
Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. But so 1 through 14 are the verses. So it's a little long, but okay. So it says, "Then I was given a measuring stick, and I was told, 'Go and measure the temple of the altar and count the number of worshippers. But do not measure the outer courtyard, for it has been turned over to the nations. They will trample the holy city for 42 months. So 42 months is 3.5 years. And I will give power to my two witnesses, and they will be clothed in burlap and prophesy during those 1,260 days. So that is the 3.5 years of the tribulation. That's how long they'll prophesy for. It says, these two prophets are the two olive trees and the two lampstands that stand before the Lord of all the earth. If anyone tries to harm them, fire flashes from their mouths and consumes their enemies. This is how anyone who tries to harm them must die. They have the power to shut the sky so that no rain will fall for as long as they prophesy. And they have the power to turn the rivers and oceans into blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they wish." So that's not good.
Yeah.
When they complete their testimony, the beast that comes up out of the bottomless pit will declare war against them and will conquer them and kill them. So that's the Antichrist. And their bodies will lie in the main street of Jerusalem, the city that is figuratively called Sodom in Egypt, the city where the Lord was crucified. And for 3.5 days, all the people, tribes, languages, and nations will stare at their bodies. No one will be allowed to bury them. All the people who belong to this world will gloat over them and give presents to each other to celebrate the death of the two prophets who had tormented them. But after 3.5 days, God breathed life into them, and they stood up. Terror struck all who were staring at them. Then a loud voice from heaven called to the two prophets, "Come up here." And they rose to heaven in a cloud as their enemies watched. At the same time, there was a terrible earthquake that destroyed 1/10 of the city. 7,000 people died in that earthquake, and everyone else was terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second terror passed, but look, the third terror is coming quickly. And so the next portion, which we're not talking about, but that's the seventh trumpet. That's what it gets into. So, so this is prophecy. This is the prophecy that John wrote in Revelation. So this is a vision that God gave him, was the book of Revelation. And so all the stuff that I just read is going to happen. And when you think about it, that's kind of crazy because it literally says that they will be killed and their bodies will lie in the street for 3.5 days.
Yeah.
And after 3.5 days, God raises them back up. So they're going to be fully dead for 3.5 days and then come back to life.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was a long passage, but okay. So some people speculate that one of the witnesses, because it says, and I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will be clothed in burlap, and they will prophesy during those 1,260 days. So 3.5 years. So some people wonder if the pre-trib rapture is when it's going to happen. How are people going to know about the gospel if every believer is gone? Well, it's because of the 144,000 witnesses that he sets aside.
Yeah.
And also the 2 witnesses that he's sending to prophesy. And also literally somewhere in here too, I don't remember, but he's literally sending an angel to preach. There's a preacher angel in Revelation. There's literally an angel. Yeah. So there's ways for people to hear. Yeah, it's in 10, you said? Okay, so just before that then, in 10. But yeah.
Wow.
So anyways, there's a lot of people that try and speculate who the 2 witnesses are because it doesn't give them by name. And so, people have been trying to guess who they are. And
does it say one though? Does it say one? Or I feel like,
does it say one what?
One name. I think it says one name.
So that's in here. It's in Malachi.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not in here though, but it sounds like it's in the last book of the Old Testament. So we'll get to that. But so some people speculate that one of them could be Moses, and because it's it says that they will have the power to turn the rivers and oceans into blood. And so there's certain kinds of plagues that these witnesses are going to be able to carry out that match some of the Old Testament Exodus Moses plagues. And so some people say maybe one of them is Moses because a lot of the plagues, that are going to happen is similar to what happened back then. So they think Moses. Some say Elijah, some say Enoch. Some say Enoch and Elijah because they didn't die and they were taken to heaven alive. And so they think that that's a reason. But I mean, if you think about it for a second, I don't think they have to die because people that are raptured out, if the rapture happens in our lifetime, we're not going to die either. Yeah. So I don't because some people say that you have to die a mortal death. And it's well, I mean, the rapture technically, millions of people aren't going to die. So I don't think that necessarily has to
maybe not
be a thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was a good point, but I'm not sure if that really matters. But yeah, so Enoch and Elijah were taken alive to heaven. And yeah, so Revelation was written in 95 AD by John while he was imprisoned on an island called Patmos on the west coast of modern day Turkey is where that's at. He wrote down this vision in chronological order. So Revelation is the only book in the Bible that is in chronological order. The way that it's written is the things that happen in chapter 1 happen first, and the last thing to happen is chapter 22. It's written in order. So that's interesting.
That is.
Let's see here. So Tiff says we know that it's written in chronological order because in chapter 1, verse, let's see, what is it? Verse 19, he says, write down what you have seen, both the things that are now happening and the things that will happen. So he's writing them in that order. The things that he has seen, is seeing currently now, and the things that are going to happen.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's in order that way. Let's see. Revelation is also the only book in the Bible to come with a supernatural blessing in the beginning to the reader, which I think I've mentioned that in one of my videos before.
Yep.
But it basically says, God
Mhm.
blesses the one who reads the words of this prophecy to the church, and he blesses all who listen to its message and obey what it says, for the time is near. So there is a blessing that comes from reading it, teaching it, listening to it even. So you guys even taking the time to listen, he likes to point that out too, that if you're taking the time to even care enough to listen, then, that's you'll be blessed for that, because Revelation is a serious book. Let's see. So, there's a rapture reference in Revelation 4, 1 through 2. Let's see here.
Okay.
Do you want to get it?
Oh, sure. After this, I looked, and there before me was a door, standing open in heaven. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me, like a trumpet, said, "Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this." At once I was in the Spirit, and there before me was a throne in heaven with someone sitting on it.
Yep. So that, where it says "come up here," that's a reference to the rapture. And literally in chapter 11, God tells the two witnesses to, after he raises them from the dead again, he says, "Then a loud voice from heaven called to the two prophets, saying, 'Come up here.' And they rose to heaven in a cloud as their enemies watched." So that phrase "come up here" is a reference to the rapture too.
Yeah.
So let's see here. First Thessalonians. First Thessalonians chapter 4. Verses 16 through 18. So this is the partner verse to Revelation 4 that we just read. So these ones kind of go together. Let's see. 4, 16 through 18. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a commanding shout. And the shout was mentioned in that other verse too. So we'll come down from heaven with a commanding shout, with the voice of the archangel, that's Michael, and with the trumpet call of God. First, the believers who have died will rise from their graves. Then together with them, we who are still alive and remain on the earth will be caught up in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Then we will be with the Lord forever. So encourage each other with these words. So yes, we will be caught up. The two witnesses come during the Great Tribulation. So, there's a question of like, which half of the tribulation do they come in? The first half or the second half? Daniel also prophesied of the 7-year tribulation. So Revelation and Daniel are partner books with prophecy of the end times. They go side by side. So Daniel 9:27. Let's see here. My pages are sticking together. Okay. So 9:27.
Oh, I'll grab it then. He will confirm, 9:27. He will confirm a covenant with many for one of 7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And at the temple, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation until the end that is decreed is poured out on him.
Wow. So this part is talking about the Antichrist. It's telling us who it is, okay? It's not giving his name, but it's saying, the ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of one set of 7. So it's talking about one set of 7 years, okay? So the tribulation is 7 years long, and it says that he will make a peace treaty with them. So after half the time, 3.5 years, that's when he kind of like goes back on it and desecrates the temple. So there's a strong argument for them being revealed in the second half, the second 3.5 years. He had a couple points here. The timing of the building of the third temple, we may see the initial startings of this happening. They actually already, I think, are starting, right? Building the temple. Aren't they doing that?
You know what? I don't know. I feel like that I've heard something
Like
about
they're at least talking about it for sure. You know, like it's not too far off in the future. I would think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where I heard something about it, but I don't remember where I heard that from. I heard it on the news, or
yeah. So we may see the initial building of this temple. Everything for the temple that's needed is already ready. The perfect red heifer has already been born. There's actually a couple of them, if I remember right. They pass off all these checks to make sure that they're completely spotless. And
was that a recent? Do we know if the red heifer?
I thought it was 2023.
Was it? Oh my gosh! Okay.
I thought, Okay. So it's already been.
Yeah, because I had to stop when I was watching this because he did this video. 3 years ago.
Yeah, there's a
so in this video he mentioned that it had about the red heifer not being. Like that hasn't occurred, but if it had, and so it made me pause and think.
He did a red heifer video.
Oh, did he?
Where it was like 2023 is when they're like. Yeah,
I had to go and I'm like, and then it made me think. Oh yeah, he did this one, this particular one 3 years ago. So
yeah, so this is happening.
That was interesting
in our lifetime for sure.
That was something. I was like, wait.
So why that's important is because they actually use the perfect red heifer for like sacrifices to like cleanse the temple, right? With like its ashes and stuff. They use that as like a ritualistic cleansing sacrifice for the temple to make it perfectly clean. So yeah, it's needed as a sacrifice for the cleansing of the temple. The temple will be up and running or being used in the first half because the Antichrist desecrates it 3.5 years into his reign or whatever. So it has to be up and running for him to even desecrate it in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it would make sense that the witnesses would come afterwards because the Antichrist hasn't even really fully revealed himself yet by doing that. Let's see. So the second point is the context of Revelation chapter 11 and the peace treaty upheld in the first half. So it makes sense that they would be revealed in the second half because in the first half, the peace treaty is being kept. There's no wars. There's no fights. Everybody's getting along. There's no need, really. I mean, because everybody's at peace, right? So it would make sense that they would be revealed in the second half.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So what is the purpose of the... Well, and if you think about it, if Revelation is written in chronological order, they're in chapter 11. So they're in the second half of the book, you know?
Yeah,
like
because
lots of stuff has already happened, and then they show up. So if it's written in chronological order, that would make sense that they're in the second half because they're in the second half of Revelation.
Yep.
So I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah,
it makes sense to me. So what is the purpose of the two witnesses? when Jesus came the first time, God sent John the Baptist to pave the way before him. When Jesus returns the second time, these two witnesses will pave the way for his second coming. So they're going to go ahead and preach just like John preached before Jesus came. They're going to preach for his second coming.
Yeah.
Both John and the two witnesses will wear the burlap or sackcloth. Wearing sackcloth was a sign of humility and lowly and repentant respect. It was a way to show God that you're bowing as low as you can possibly bow by wearing something that's probably not pleasant to wear.
Yeah.
It's itchy and hard and scratchy.
They said it's uncomfortable many times.
Like camel hair. It's like camel hair, right? Like woven together with whatever. It's like not comfy. So John the Baptist and these two witnesses wear it. So they are sent to announce the judgment of the world and prophesy and teach and turn the people to God. So that is their job. They are giving people one last chance to turn from what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have a hard time believing that people are going to see, I mean, I guess, I don't know, man. Like people that can see all these things happening, like all these plagues happening, all these crazy signs and wonders and all these crazy things happening and like not believe.
I know, but
it blows my mind. Like how dumb do you have to be?
But there's
like,
a lot of people now.
No disrespect, but like fully disrespect. Like how do you I don't get it. I don't get it.
But there's a lot of people now that a lot of the things that have already come to pass in the Bible, they don't believe either.
Yeah, I mean, so that's like people were like calling Jesus like a witch and stuff because they were saying he was doing magic.
Yeah,
it's like, dude,
sorcerer. Yeah,
I mean, like with the Pharaoh in Egypt when Moses was doing plague after plague after plague after plague, and the Pharaoh's magicians were copying what he was doing.
Right.
And so he believed a little bit, but then like they disproved it kind of like by copying them. And then God's like, okay, so like the only thing they can't copy is if I take your kid. And so God killed his son. And that's the only thing the magicians couldn't copy. And Pharaoh's like, fine, get out of here. You know? The only plague that the magicians couldn't copy is what it took for him to be like, that's okay. Awful. But even then, my husband said, it was a good point. Like, even then, he still took after them. Even when he said, okay, go ahead, leave. And they left, and he still followed them. Yeah. It's like, dude, are you dumb? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. They just don't get it. Like, they don't know who they're messing with. Yeah. Did you not see what just happened? You know? I don't know. I would not have the guts to do half the stuff they did back then. Are you crazy? I am terrified of God. I have a very healthy fear, very healthy respect to where it's like, no, thank you. You know? Absolutely not.
Yeah. I don't know. There's always those people. There are always those people though.
It's like,
there just is.
It's just crazy. Like when they could see it like with their own eyes, like even the Pharisees with Jesus, like when he was healing people and like they were still like trying to say that he was a false teacher and stuff. It's like, you're seeing it with your own face. What is wrong with you?
I know.
You know, I don't get it.
Like,
I don't.
I mean, I guess if, you know, these people that, well, the actors or whatever that were doing the same, I don't know how they, I mean, it had to have been actors on both sides of that, because they obviously couldn't heal somebody. So they had to have, you know, it's quite a few people. I mean, I think I picture it as I picture it as like the conspiracy theory people, you know, like because
I can see that.
We're both truth tellers, and we're, you know, and they would, and I don't know, it's so weird. Like my mind works that way, thinking it's kind of.
It's like, what's that saying where it's like they can't see the forest for the trees?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't see like what's right in front of your face.
Yep.
Like, but I guess that's how God separates the people from, you know, like how it says, like he separates the goats from the sheep. He separates the people that are like not true believers and the people that are, is like, maybe that's why it has to happen for stuff like that, to see who's an actual believer and who's not. But it's just, it blows my mind that you can't believe when you see like plagues happening and like, oh, all the waters turn to blood and like whatever. It's like, how do you not just instantly go like, oh, I messed up, like I was wrong, like how like I just don't get it.
I guess it's just believers and non-believers. That's the whole thing. You either believe or you don't believe, and then like nobody.
Well, because like usually people want like evidence. Like,
I know.
Like people want like evidence, and so like when you get evidence, like you still don't believe. Like how dumb are you? Like just saying. Like how did I just don't.
Maybe that
understand.
was their version of sweeping it under the rug, like they do now. I don't know. Instead of trying to face it and accept it, like,
well, because like this is the one mistake where it's like, if you don't believe and you don't repent and you don't whatever, the punishment exists whether you believe it or not. The punishment exists, and it's endless torment. It says wailing and gnashing of teeth, and it's not like a party, right? Like, you know, some people think like, oh, like I don't care if I go to hell, like it's just like a big party down there, I can just drink all day. It's like, no. There's even a scripture, if I remember hearing correctly, I thought I was told this before, that even the demons don't want to be there. They don't. Like literally when Jesus cast out the demons out of somebody and they begged not to send them back, can you send me into the swine instead? It's so bad that even the demons don't want to go. They're like, can you cast us into pigs, please? And then the pigs all ran off the side of a cliff. It's like, dude, it's so bad that the demons don't want to go there. You should care if you go to hell or not. It's not a party. It's not like a bunch of drinking and everybody playing beer pong.
I guess
it's just not that. It's not a party. It's not.
But what I run into with people who don't believe is that they figure, what I'm not going to know. I don't see. Their whole thing is that they're so naive to everything, or just refuse to see. They're like, I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to care. I'm not going. You know what I'm saying?
Your soul's not dead.
They're not even. Maybe they believe they don't even have a soul. I don't know.
Well, they're going to have a rude awakening, is what I'm saying.
I know.
There's scriptures that say.
Mind-blowing. I know.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but I mean, it's all related.
Yeah, it is all related.
I mean, those two witnesses are giving you your last chance. They're going to give you your last chance. And there's going to be still people that don't listen to them.
This is why we like want so badly and push so much for, you know, for the souls of our family and friends, and you know, how we're wanting.
I have prayed for other people too.
Jesus. Yeah.
I have a couple friends that are, you know, a little stubborn in this area. And it's like, dude, now is not the time. We are so close. Don't mess this up. You don't get like, you know, and just try and, I've prayed for them, like, please, like, just let their heart soften so they can hear the message of what we're trying to say. Like, just I don't even care if it's from me. Just let them hear it from somewhere and just something click, because like, I don't want those friends or whoever like stuck here for this. No. You don't want to be here for revelation. You don't. It's not good stuff, man. I mean, the last couple chapters are good. Talking about the new heaven, that's pretty good. But I mean, that's it. Yeah. The rest of it is destruction. It's not good. But so it's a warning. Yeah. Revelation is given as a warning. If people choose not to read it, or if they choose,
that is so weird.
Yeah. So if
I get chills.
So Revelation is given as a warning. It's a prophecy. It's a vision. It's gonna happen. So yeah, their job is to announce the judgment of the world and prophesy and teach and turn people to God before it's too late. So who are they? Like I said, some people think Elijah, Enoch, and Moses. Like they go between those three. Like it's either Enoch and Elijah, it's Moses and Enoch, Moses and Elijah. Like they think that's like one of those three. So some people think Moses because he's one of the greatest prophets in the Bible, and the plagues are similar to the plagues in Exodus when Moses was here. Enoch, like I said, never died, walked with God, so he would be favored. Elijah never died, and this is the crazy verse that I wanted to read. So I actually think, I'm saying think because I don't know, and I don't want this held against me if I'm wrong. But I mean, it sounds like it. So, okay, Malachi. So the last book in the Old Testament. So right there, that's also kind of a sign too, I feel like, because it's in the last few passages before the New Testament starts. So I feel like that's pretty crazy. But okay.
It's like, oh, and by the way.
Yeah, before I'm done here, let me say this one thing before the new book starts. Okay, so this is Malachi chapter 4, verse 5. And this says, "Look, I am sending you the prophet Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord arrives." I mean, his preaching will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers. Otherwise, I will come and strike the land with a curse.
Yep.
Sounds to me like this is talking about the great and dreadful day of the Lord is the tribulation in Revelation.
That's
And
what it sounds
striking the land with a curse is literally all of the bad stuff that happens in Revelation, all the and it says, "Look, I am sending you the prophet Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord arrives." So it sounds to me like that Elijah might be one of them. Yeah. I'm very careful with my words. I'm saying might and I think because I don't know. Revelation doesn't give their names. So I can't say for sure, but I'm saying that sounds like a pretty concrete passage there. And what does yours say? Because they're a little different.
Oh, let me go back.
I'm assuming it's similar.
Which
Malachi. So it's the very last page before the New Testament.
Hold on. What is it? I don't even know if I had open. I usually have my bookmarks in there, but
keep going.
Hello.
It's even before Matthew.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It's Malachi is the last book. So you're way up here.
Oh, hold on. I feel like it. Oh, I didn't even know I was that close to the. Isn't it? I don't know.
No, it's here. Hold on. Yep, there's Matthew.
All right.
Okay, so it's just before that.
Goodness gracious.
Malachi. After.
Oh, after. There you go.
Okay, so it's the last page of that. I just want to see how it compares.
I know, right?
So it's 5 and 6.
So this one says, "See, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before that great and dreadful day of the Lord comes.
Pretty close.
He will turn the hearts of the parents to their children and the hearts of the children to their parents, or else I will come and strike the land with total destruction."
So, I mean, they're pretty word for word.
Yeah, pretty. That's very similar, which I'm shocked because sometimes they're just totally different.
But Elijah is mentioned in both of those, and it says, "I will send him." So, I mean, like I said, Revelation isn't dogmatic on who they are. It doesn't say their names in Revelation, so we're just guessing. But we would like to hear what your guesses are. Yeah. I think, personally, my guess is when Tiff told me his guess, I fully agree, and I think the same. So he thinks Moses and Elijah, and I think so too. Because, first of all, Elijah is literally mentioned in Malachi. Literally says he's sending him. So if he's talking about sending him before the great and dreadful day of the Lord, which to me sounds like the tribulation, and this is the last passage before the New Testament starts. It's at the end of the book. So to me, that's important because that can signal that there's more stuff coming.
Yeah.
It's
And then like Moses is in the verse before it too, just
well, here, hold
as
on.
he
This is another reason why I think Moses and Elijah, because so they're seen together previously. Okay. So they're in the transfiguration of Jesus on the mountain. Let me read that. Matthew 17, verses 2 and 3. This is a very compelling verse that makes me really think that it is those two, because they've been seen together before. Okay. So they're obviously very important prophets.
Yeah.
Because they were there for his transfiguration when Jesus, okay.
Yep.
So 17 verses 2 and 3. As the men watched, okay, I should just read the first one. 6 days later, Jesus took Peter and his two brothers, James and John, and the two brothers, James and John, and led them up a high mountain to be alone. As the men watched, Jesus' appearance was transformed so that his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. Suddenly, Moses and Elijah appeared and began talking with Jesus. So, Moses and Elijah appeared when Jesus transformed like that. When everything lit up and he turned, like, all of his stuff turned white. Like, doesn't his hair turn white too? Or something? I thought I heard that. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well,
like everything turns white. Like his hair, his clothes, his face shines.
I think they depict that in in a lot of the shows too that I've seen.
But okay, so they were seen together previously. Okay, so to me, that's a huge argument for it being them two together, because Elijah is mentioned as one of them in Malachi, and well, I think it's one of them. I can't say that like for sure, but okay,
just because he kind of says it, but
yeah, he kind of says it, and it makes me think that it's talking about in Revelation.
Yeah.
So Elijah and Moses were both at the transfiguration. A lot of the plagues in Revelation that they're going to be doing match the Exodus plagues, like turning the water to blood, all kinds of, there's going to be like malignant sores that break out on everybody that has the mark of the beast. So malignant means cancerous, right? So cancerous sores that break out on the bodies of people that have the mark. There's and it says in Revelation 11 that these two witnesses that God sends can strike the earth with plagues as often as they want. So if they're feeling really upset one particular day, you know what I mean? It doesn't say that they are limited. It says the opposite. It says they can do it with every kind of plague as often as they want. So if they're really upset, you're going to have a bad day. The sun's going to be gone, the locusts, the water, the everything, all in one day. Could be. Like, if they want to do that, they can, as much as they want, every day for 3.5 years if they feel like it.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bad time. So you don't want to be here. You want to make sure you are going. Yeah. You want to make sure that you're good with God. You want to make sure you recognize your sin, you repent of it, actually mean it, feel sorrowful for what you did. That's what repentance is. It's like when you actually feel like regret and you realize that what you're doing is wrong and you don't want to do that anymore. So, like I said, they were already seen together in scripture, and it's a scripture that holds really like a lot of importance too. The transfiguration of Jesus is huge. Yeah. And actually, didn't Dallas say that, because like he had people say like, oh, like you really missed an opportunity by not doing the transfiguration in the show. And I thought I remembered hearing him say in one of those videos that like on the app, those little extra videos.
We're talking about The Chosen.
Yeah, sorry. that he didn't want to do it because he felt like he couldn't get it right.
Yeah, I think
and
he
he didn't want to try and do something like that because it was just way too like out of his reach. You
Right.
know? He didn't want to get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like how do you get that right?
Right.
It's a a supernatural transforming of somebody. Like how do you like how do you even like picture that?
I don't know.
You know, like you can't. And so he didn't want to. So for people that are like, you know, saying that he didn't or that he's like blaspheming by the show and doing all this crazy stuff, it's like actually he's so careful that he didn't do the transfiguration because he didn't want to get it wrong. You know, he's very careful.
Yeah.
And
he explains a lot of things. So
yeah, well, and I've seen videos.
To think.
Like I've seen videos where the guy that plays Jesus, so Jonathan Rumi, is like he says that like I've like every time I say stuff like this, I feel like I'm like making it up, but I'm not. He says that like he fasts and prays before certain scenes or like before certain episodes. So like he was even saying on the I think this was on the last roundtable talk of season 4, episode 8. So it was the last episode of season 4 because they're talking about season 5 coming with the crucifixion and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was saying that like they're like fasting and praying and all kinds of stuff. Like they take it seriously what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not just like playing a part, you know. They're like he fasts and prays, and Dallas, the creator of The Chosen, like says that sometimes that Jonathan will pull Dallas aside with him and pray with him. And it's like he takes his part very seriously in portraying Jesus. He really does. So yeah. So let's see. I think I have one more verse down here for some reason.
Oh.
Revelation 11 and 12. Oh. I mean, I already read those.
Yeah, I feel like we've already.
So,
was it just? Did he mention something, or
I think I did that.
Oh,
so yeah. Anyways, in they will be assassinated after their mission is complete. It says they will be killed. The beast will, you know, be able to overcome them after they have completed their mission. So it won't be before that because for 3.5 years they are preaching. And so after those 3.5 years, they will be killed and then they will be resurrected. And then they will rise up to heaven. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool chapter. Yeah. Let's see here. Is the angel in 10?
I thought I thought it was about the. Let me see. Angel.
I would have
but
I would have to flip through because there's literally a section called the preacher angel or something like that. I thought.
Okay.
I don't know.
I thought he. Let's see.
I mean, maybe it is 10.
Is it in the actual? Is it in actual Revelation that you remember it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it
Does he preach or does he just prophesy? Or does he...
Well, prophesy and teach is the same thing, isn't it?
Or... Oh, I guess I was thinking perform miracles. I was thinking...
No, it's
I don't know why I was thinking that. Okay.
It's teaching.
Okay.
I think it is 10, but...
Because it had something to do with... let's see here. So what did the angel ask to give me the little scroll? He said to me, take it and eat it. It will turn your stomach sour, but in your mouth, it will be sweet as honey. You must prophesy again about many peoples, nations, languages, and kings.
Yeah, is that it?
I wonder if that's it.
So I went to the angel. And
but doesn't...
Okay.
Let's see. Robed in a cloud.
Can you Google
the rainbow
it really
above
fast?
his head. That's
Just
funny.
can you type in like preacher angel in Revelation or something?
Yeah, let's see.
I just want to find it because that's how people are going to hear the gospel during the tribulation. Is the 2 witnesses and the angel, an actual angel. Revelation 2:1. That can't be it.
That's not right. Preacher,
right? It can't be it. Not way up there.
That's weird. Yeah, that didn't bring it up. Nothing. This isn't bringing much up. I don't know why it's not bringing it.
What are you typing in?
What you said, preacher angel in Revelations. Oh, that one might have been something different. No, I did. Not bringing much up at all.
I swore there's literally an angel that it talks about.
Yeah, because that's the only one that I see in here is... No, that's not it. It's talking about angel of the church, but... And I only use DuckDuckGo, so I don't know. Let's see. I feel like that might be it, but it doesn't say very much.
I swear, I even remember reading it. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is, I think. The 3 angels. Oh, I wrote it right here. Look. It says preacher angel right there.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, hold on. I found it.
It's
in chapter 14. So, okay. I'll just read this really fast, okay? This says, and I saw, so it starts at verse 6. And I saw another angel flying through the sky, carrying the eternal good news to proclaim to the people who belong to this world, to every nation, tribe, language, and people. Fear God, he shouted. Give glory to him, for the time has come when he will sit as judge. Worship him who made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all the springs of the water. So there is an angel that comes and tells people, fear God, give glory to him, for the time has come where he will sit as your judge. So there's literally an angel, it says, carrying the eternal good news to proclaim to the people who belong to every nation, tribe, language, and people.
Like all three of these angels.
Well, it says, then another angel followed him through the sky, shouting, Babylon is fallen, the great city is fallen, because she made all the nations of the world drink the wine of her passionate immorality. Then a third angel followed them, shouting, anyone who worships the beast and his statue, who accepts his mark on the forehead or the hand, must drink the wine of God's anger. It has been poured full strength into God's cup of wrath, and they will be tormented with fire and burning sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. The smoke of their torment will rise forever and ever, and they will have no relief day or night. See, hell is not a party. They will have no relief day or night, for they have worshipped the beast and his statue and have accepted the mark of his name. This means that God's holy people must endure persecution patiently, obeying his commands and maintaining their faith in Jesus. So that's in Revelation chapter 14, starts at verse 6, literally talks about an angel coming to proclaim the good news and preach the word and say to fear God, give glory to him, for the time has come when he will sit as judge. So, I mean, the people that choose not to listen to the two witnesses, okay, whatever, but choose to not listen to an angel, you're not smart. And that's being delicate, Wow. Like an angel flying around saying something, and you're going to be like, no, how dumb. I mean, what else do you say besides how dumb?
Yeah.
How stupid do you have to be like, no, thank you, I'm not listening to an actual angel that's flying around everywhere. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't get it. There's some crazy people that are not going to believe, and that just blows my absolute mind.
Yeah. Well,
it really does. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 2 witnesses and an angel, 3, plus the 144,000 that, that he takes from 12,000 from all the 12 tribes of Israel or something. But yeah, so there will be plenty of people that will help to get God's word out when people are raptured out. Because that's a question a lot of people have, is like, oh, well, how are they going to hear if all the believers are gone? Well, it says there's an angel, and it says there's 2 witnesses that literally their job is to preach to everybody, every nation, language, and tribe, and whatever. That is their job, to preach to everybody. Give them one final chance to get over themselves. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I was excited to do this because it's a pretty cool chapter. I liked it. But, I mean, I don't know who you think they are, but I think Moses and Elijah is good.
Those are really...
I don't know who you think, but...
Yeah, I would think that too. They just seem the most logical, and just reading everything, that's kind of what it sounds like.
I mean, the selling point for me not only was the fact that
it was that they're together.
Elijah is in Malachi being told, I will send my prophet Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Not only that, but it nails it home in Matthew when he's in the transfiguration. They're both together. Elijah and Moses are both together. It makes sense they would come back together again and do it again one last time. Doesn't it make sense? Makes sense to me.
Yeah, they're
it's kind of cool.
Like the baseball team.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I personally think Moses and Elijah.
Your quarterback and...
Yeah.
You're tight end.
You're tight end.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, it just, I don't know who you guys think. Maybe in the comments kind of say if you agree that it's Moses and Elijah, or if you think it's somebody else. Because, I mean, it doesn't say actually their names in chapter 11, it doesn't say their names, but it gives us clues,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because we all know that Jesus likes parables. he likes, you know, kind of like riddles almost, like making you think. So
like, he can't just
out and say it.
Yeah, give you the answer. Like,
jeez.
Maybe that's why we needed to learn math.
Yeah, but not that Common Core stuff. That makes no sense. But yeah, so I don't know. I think Moses and Elijah, they were together in the Transfiguration. Elijah's name is literally mentioned. A lot of the plagues they're going to be doing, you know, match the plagues in Exodus when Moses did them previously. Yeah. It makes sense they would be together again and do it again. I don't know. Yeah. Wow. So, anyways. Almost right at an hour.
Was it?
Almost.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought it was going to take a whole lot of time.
No.
It's a lot of writing. But
there's no, well, yeah, like most of it is just like commentary that I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. Depending on what time it is, we might try and do a second video. What time is it right now? Can't see.
17 or 19.
All right. Well, yeah, we might try and do a second.
Says 19. That's what I was like.
Oh, military time. Yeah. So crazy stuff. Revelation is a book that will blow your absolute mind. Yeah. You really should read it.
I'm thinking of just reading it again, and because I've read it several times.
Well, but it seems like when you hear it from like Tiff, when you hear his teachings on certain things in Revelation, when you read it again, it makes more sense because he teaches lots of stuff, and so when you read it again, you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, sometimes it takes reading it again and again, and getting some context, and you know, that's why hopefully this is like doing the same thing for others. You know, what we do is, you know, just getting you thinking and going, and then go back and reading it again too. So
yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
there's always something that comes up, or whatever. It's like, oh, I think I want to go read that book again, or that chapter again.
I feel like
one verse.
I feel like prompted to thank God for actually helping me find that verse, because I wouldn't have looked back that far.
Yeah, I know. I
feel like he helped me find it.
Yeah,
because that should be highlighted for sure. Why is it not? I don't know. But anyways, tell us what you guys think, if you agree, or any ideas on who you think they are. I mean, no offense, but you're not going to change my mind. I really do think it's Moses and Elijah.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right. Well, I guess till next Friday.
Yeah.
Stay blessed.